Hey, how's it going? I'm gonna read some cards, but first, please look at my signs. Okay, that's enough of that. So, yes, I pulled 2 cards today. First card I pulled was from Shaman's Dream Oracle deck, and it is number 53. That would add up to 8. Stranger is the card, and the subtitle is Curiosity. So, I don't always adjust the numbers completely. I never know what I'm gonna say until I say it. So, maybe I'll talk about it and maybe I won't, but when I bring it up, it's usually because I'm thinking of numerology or an angel number, which under either of those headings, you might look it up yourself and see what you might gain from whatever knowledge you find there. I could tell you, but it's better if you look yourself if you're interested. So, anyway, I felt like I need to address that because I know I start saying stuff and then never come back to it again. So, sorry about that. Anyway, the Stranger card. So, obviously this person is in some sort of, like, it's got to be a cave or something, because there's not even, like, if it was a living space, there would be some kind of lighting solution happening, and those pitiful little, like, tea lights that are here on the ring of this pool. I believe that's water. Interesting that that's lit from inside. What's that about? What kind of lighting setup is that? Anyway, this is what this person is working with. The light of this pool, luckily, and these candles, which are, you know, not super luminous. And then there's somewhat of a glow coming in from, looks like outside, where the entrance of this place would be. This very much a cave looking place. And you know, in mythology there's a lot of caves and mazes in underground spaces, and I'm thinking in particular right now of the Oracle at Delphi, which I believe was some Greek territory or Greece or something like that. I don't have all the details, but you know, this Oracle was a woman, and I guess she like lived in this cave or did her readings in the cave, but people would come from far and wide, rulers like royalty and probably military leaders and just princes and what, I don't know, like whatever kind of people that would have need and probably the wherewithal to pay an oracle to foretell their future. So that's what made me think of, because that, if I remember correctly, and I think that I do, that oracle did her thing in a cave, and then many years later I found out that it's thought, I think many years later everybody found out that that cave might have been filled with what was the gas? I want to say methane, but I don't think that's it. I will. Okay, let me write it down so I can look it up after, and maybe address it. In the information box or whatever, the place where I write a bunch of stuff after I record the video. I'm grabbing another pen. Or another pen. Well, first I would have had to find the first one. And I know where it is, but I'm not going to disturb this setup any more than absolutely necessary. Oracle So yeah, the discovery was that there was some kind of gas that like is in the place where they feel like the Oracle of Delphi was, or I guess at Delphi. They found some kind of gas that they feel like was making her hallucinate. Well, ayahuasca makes you hallucinate, but people tend to think that's pretty darn real. And who's to say a hallucination is a wrong thing? Like, we got a lot of rules, especially when it comes to being in your right mind, I guess, but who's to say what's right? Especially if, like, the people that consulted with her, would they have not also been in range of the gas, too? Like, exactly who was hallucinating? Okay, let me just write this note, so I can't even guarantee that I'll read the note and use it to say anything, but if I don't get a load of it now. What gas? Okay, that should be enough. Alright, so anyway, so this person is in here, and oh wow, you know, when I looked at this before, I thought, or the last time I pulled it, that all this red tracing business, which, speaking of hallucinogens, if you've done any, you will know that this kind of thing happens to whatever you're looking at. It's like it starts over here and then it goes over here, but you can see the path from here to here, and you're like, wow. Among other words or whatever, but that is a visual, I guess, hallucination or temporary ability to see stuff that you could not see without the aid of this hallucinatory agent. Hallucinatory. It sounds like you got old and the hallucinations just stayed stuck, like that expression your mom told you not to make because it would get stuck. Okay. Anyway, these tracings, there's certainly that, but I thought it was just spell casting, you know. I thought it was, if you've ever seen the Venture Brothers cartoon that, well, it used to be on Cartoon Network, and it is still played on there, but now you can find it on Max, like anytime, so that you don't have to wait for the season of the Venture Brothers to arrive and Cartoon Network to start showing it one night a week. So anyway, there's a character on the Venture Brothers called, of course I'm not going to remember his name, just a second, I'm going to have to pause things here, and oh, Morpheus, Dr. Morpheus. And he's a necromancer, so he's like a magician guy, and he does have abilities, and I don't mean a magician like pulling a rabbit out of a hat. He is, well, necromancer. I'll try and remember to put that in the comments, but if you don't find it, look it up. It suggests, though, someone, a practitioner of dark arts, because necro is like death, but in this case, Morpheus is not a dark guy. He's actually he's a pretty regular guy from, I think, where are they from? I always thought they were in New Jersey, but I recently learned that the Venture compound, which is mostly where you'll see stories with Morpheus in it, is in Colorado, but they have since moved to New York. But anyway, that has little to do with what I want to say about Morpheus. When he does his spell casting, well, usually this is the sign that he does. But, you know, he's doing other gestures and things, and it's like a mudra, different application, but the mudra is a hand gesture that you use to accelerate certain things during meditation, or I guess just when you're making the gesture that signals to your body certain activities that you want it to be doing. And the reason for that is because we have a lot of electrical sensitivity in our fingers, and so however we are positioning them and then making contact with each other with them, this makes things happen in your body. So that's kind of freaking magical, I think. And so maybe with magic, I'm still talking about Morpheus here, because it's an illustration you can go look at if you care. But the hand gestures obviously have something to do with performing the spell, so to speak. And so, but anyway, this guy, what I thought was hand gestures, I see now, and it also looks like this too. It looks like he's holding maybe like a stick with a burning ember at the end, or a sparkler, because it's not sparkly, but the after image is very much like what you'd see. Very much like you'd see if someone was waving a sparkler around. I accidentally hit pause. Hi, how you doing? Don't touch your equipment while you're filming. So it might be a wand, like a magic wand. Oh, it just sounded like Morpheus. That's the other thing about him too. He has a very particular way of speaking. It's reminiscent of the southern preacher that gets very emotional when they're doing their sermon. You know what I'm saying? But not quite that. Somewhere in that neighborhood. It's overly dramatic and funny. Morpheus, the other, no comment. But so yeah, it looks like actually he's got something, again, maybe like a willow wand with the end like kind of lit for reasons. I don't know. I don't know how to do spells like this guy is doing, or like any that I know of. Oh, I guess I do know a couple, but it's not like I'm all spelling it up all the time. Not my bag. Not my medicine bag. God. I'm obviously just slaying myself. Probably no one else is finding it as amusing. Anyway, so I was looking at this earlier, and I want to say that this person, this magician, is a black dude, and I don't know if that's because, like, I am not a black dude, but a black person, and I'm just like predetermined to see that, but I don't know. I mean, even in the dark, he looks like a dark-skinned person, and not like bald heads are only a black guy thing, but you see them a lot on black guys, and so it was a little more difficult for me to make out exactly what's happening with these features. But since there's a big shine going down the middle of their face, and it's sort of making everything to the east or west of it extremely darker and harder to make out, it looks like this person has a pretty fine narrow nose, rather than like mine is wider. Mine extends further east and west than his seems to, but that could be obscured by the glare. And I'm just saying that because it's like an identifying feature for me to determine, like, who the hell am I looking at? And also he's like really bulky, like buffed up. Look at the arm. That is, what are you lifting? Logs? Cauldrons? Maidens? Could be, you never know. And maybe he has a day job. So anyway, yeah, he looks black, and honestly, that is not typically what I think of when I think of a magician. Although, I don't know, like, well, I was going to say I don't know, like, black magicians. Well, I don't know any personally, that to my knowledge, but I have to take that back, because you might notice that I'm quite beige yet black. I am a Creole person. And my parents are from Louisiana, my mother, and then my father was born in Texas, but his mother was from also Louisiana. So all kind of Creole people, also black in my case, as you can see. But in Louisiana, you have the whole hoodoo situation, and there's a whole, and there's also, I'm sure, Santeria that happens there as well. And I swear, the longitude and latitude of a place will have, okay, chills and hairs, will have a feeling and meaning in certain ways. And those are the magic people there, or like the ones that I know of. Don't know any personally, but they do a lot of spell casting in that area. Those groups of spiritual practitioners that I mentioned. And I mean, have you not heard the stories all about Louisiana, or yes, Louisiana, but New Orleans, like swamp creatures and big vampire presence? Like, I don't know. The only vampire that I know of that's real would be an energy vampire. But anyway, that whole mythos is there, and so, I mean, that's about as close as I can get to all of that stuff. And I have studied to learn about them. I haven't studied to learn the practices, but I know a little bit of the history of the spiritual practices. And so, in that way, a black magician kind of makes sense. And they sure got on an interesting looking outfit. No, it's very modern looking. Like, I don't think this is any like old timey spell casting situation. And gosh, you know what too? Oh shoot, it could be Louisiana where he's at, because you probably think of it as like a sunny place or whatever, and it definitely gets sunny. But last time I was there, although it could have completely changed by now, like the way the area I am in used to be rainy all but like 3 weeks out of the year, and now it's like rainy 3 weeks in the year. I'm exaggerating, but the difference is quite vast. And I've been here, the period that I'm talking about has been from like 1998 to the present, and the weather is just completely different. I moved here, I bounced a couple of times. I was here, I didn't stay very long, or long enough to get established twice. So 88 and sometime in between then and 98. But anyway, it's really changed. So I don't know if this is still the case, but it was sunny, it was humid, it was hot. And then every afternoon for a while it rained, and there were, just like a postcard, Spanish moss trees all over the place where they were where I was. And I just noticed that in the sort of wet light, like dimness, half light, there are some things hanging down that sure look like Spanish moss. Where are they? Be up in this corner here. There. I feel like I can see them, so probably you can. Like a couple of dark, raggedy strands hanging down, and boy, that sure looks like Spanish moss. So, I guess ding on the locations. Let me read what the book says about Stranger. The other, moving past fear of differences, curiosity and acceptance. The stranger moves through the world in a shroud of darkness that often elicits fear, rejection, and uncertainty, as the danger of the unknown defines its very presence. Yes, there is a veil of separation between you. Look closer and summon the courage to remain open to what you might find. You may be conditioned to look only for what mirrors what is safe and known to you, refusing to entertain any concept of other beyond something to fear. In order to broaden your world and your experience of it, You must refute the illusion that sameness is the only way. Nothing you expect eternally matches up with the other, and you're challenged by your own impatience or inexperience. But don't miss the opportunity for learning. Something extraordinary is being offered to you now if you remain curious and teachable. Allow the newness to envelop you as you explore the possibilities. This is a departure from your expectations, but the stranger has come to invite you to dance to a new music, a new tempo, a new sensation that will add more dimension to you and what you create as a result. Now is the time to leave room for other points of view, other ways of seeing with humility and grace. This is a defining moment. Take the risk. Life is like a precious diamond with many facets, not just one. Well, I was pausing because I had written a piece that kind of touches on some of these subjects in here, like, and it's in, actually, I was talking about it a little bit in a video that I made yesterday about patience, but the piece I'm writing is actually more about impatience, which may have been a more accurate way to talk about what I was talking about in the video yesterday. But anyway, in there, it talked about jumping the gun and rushing ahead of, like, when you feel like stuff's not happening fast enough and you rush it, and just that energy puts a bad spin on whatever the thing is you're in a hurry to get to achieving. Or I don't know if bad spin is right. What I learned about it, it just said that it'll add a shade of darkness to whatever it is you're out to do. And I mean, all I can say about that is that's like you going into it with the wrong motivation, and if your effort is allowed to succeed, you may be successful as heck for a long time, but if you don't take the opportunity over that time to not continue with the dark energy, it catches up to you and gets you. Because it's kind of why we're here. Like, yeah, like, be like the best worst person you can be, but also really good idea to like change lanes for the better, for the good of all. Corny, I know, but true. Ouchies. I just scratched myself with on my ankle with my foot. You needed to know the exact details. Trust me. So anyway, I did pull another card from, and this one was from the Wild Unknown Animal Spirit deck, this here, and it was Dolphin. And you know, I don't know about you, but I associate these guys with being pretty happy fellows. You know, leaping all pretty in the water and doing those nice aquatic aerials. And it's just like such an obvious expression of joy that you're just like, yay! But just like us, they also have a dark side. As our scientists are constantly saying, they're very intelligent. They're going to have to manifest that differently, not having thumbs in that, but you know, they are definitely smart enough to just about mimic our language. They can certainly understand it. You've seen them possibly interacting and working with trainers at a SeaWorld situation, so you know, they're not like cracking whips at them. They've worked out some sort of accord with the animal. Probably the food is a big motivator, and also they can't escape, so they are making the best of the situation. But they may also be enjoying themselves, although just like people, some of them are just not all good and positive all of the time, and some of them are they might start out that way, but they can turn, or they could be traumatized, like injured, and or some other way traumatized, and that would, just like a person, completely change their attitude. And in the situation, if that, just speculating here, but if that situation were to occur, and it was one of those captive dolphins, yeah, they could go rogue. I mean, the orcas have, and they're related to these guys, and I don't even know, like, what pissed off the orcas. I've seen it happen twice, and it's been caught on film, so at least the human working with the orca, you see them to the point where they get snatched or dragged under or whatever it is, but they don't show them being, like, eaten in the gore. They're not showing that. But I mean, I can imagine. Thank you. I don't need enhancement. So there's no reason to think these guys couldn't also somehow be triggered to anger and violence, just like us. And we have the thumbs, and we're not, like, any traps we're in, unless you're, like, jailed, you know, you're convicted and behind bars, the traps are mostly escapable, and maybe not even traps until we turn them into that. Like, you know, life can get difficult. One time I was I was shopping at Walmart, and it was like the payday of people on services, and people, it was just payday, and everybody was there. And I had been lucky enough to get one of those little carts, because I can't, like, walk very well. I have to have some sort of mobility device, and I was too sore to use a wheelchair or my other thing, so I had gotten a cart, and someone called me and asked me, "Oh, how is it in there?" And I said, "It's like Tetris." And sometimes that's how life is. You want to go forward, but you can't, because there's something in front of you, and you can just bonk into it, and that's frustrating and kind of dumb. And that's like giving into, you know, like losing control of your stuff. Like, you don't want to lose your stuff in a Tetris situation, no matter where the location is, because you can only go so far unless you, like, go a different way, and then you might have to wait till other Tetri move past doing the same thing, and, you know, eke your way into an opening and around a corner, and it's slow, and it's stop and go, and it's, you know, you're almost running into stuff, and people are not with you, so they're just like, da 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 da, and then they'll just stop, like, 50,000 people behind you, in front of you, and on the side of you, but just stop. And so, you know, like rear end situation, like automobiles crashing. Anyway, why did I start talking about all of that? I guess, like, the captive dolphin, their situation is Tetris. They can only go certain places, and there's no level, there's no way out, unless they finally release them. But then I feel like I'm getting way off track of what I was talking about. But if they release them, like, then they have to, like, learn how to be dolphins in the wild. And just like us, I bet the other dolphins are like, oh, there's a green noob, they don't know how to do anything, let's bully them and, like, not let them hardly be able to eat. Like, I don't know if that's true, but you want to think that animals are better than that, but I don't know. Like, these guys are smart like us. They might not be, I don't know. Like, see, I knew, like, that was not a way to go. But anyway, let me back away from there. Generally, though, I think they have a happy, joyous nature, especially if they can live in the wild. But they are curious, and they're definitely not afraid to come mingle with people. And they probably are well aware that certain people might, well, I don't think they even do that anymore, except for fishermen. I was gonna say they might have had to worry about getting snatched up by a SeaWorld agent, but that's like really frowned on. I think those are closing up and dying away because they're thought of as cruel. And by the way, people kept getting eaten, so that's not good. So this guy is questing. I don't know if they're in there for their own purposes or if someone has said, look, I got a problem with cousin, Laszlo, and they're, I think they're stealing from me and I need to, whatever it is, because I feel like going to a voodoo or hoodoo practitioner and asking them to do something to make somebody else be hurting or like put a curse on them or not succeed or in some other way like hawk block them or whatever, that doesn't seem like a great use of spiritual energy. Like if your motivation is basically just to like retaliate or something, I don't know, like I don't think that's great. So I mean, I don't know what their feeling is about it, like, other than like it's their job, they're communicating with these entities anyway, and they also need to pay rent. I mean, I don't know, but like that to me is, this guy is like answered their curiosity and found this spirituality and other world within our world, basically. And well, he's doing both, and he's doing, I'm in my scenario, he's got a day job and he's got this job, and he's just the intermediary. He's not like having an opinion really about what he's being asked to ask the spirits for. And really, the way I understand it, that is like the bargain is between the god and the petitioner, and this person would just be the facilitator. But they could be asking their own questions too. They have a life, they have stuff going on, they wonder about stuff. Like that could be their level of curiosity, and boy, that's a way to find out like a bunch of information extra super enhanced. And these guys also seem to be quite curious, like in the way that they just come up to us and hang out and spend time with us. And also through observation and curiosity, I know that they know if they or another of their fellow sea creatures is in trouble because of our fishing nets or some crap, or like a can stuck on somebody's head or something, that they need the intervention of a human. Their curiosity and observation of us for so long has made them aware that, again, they don't have thumbs, so even wild ones will need our help, and they have been curious enough to watch us and see what we're capable of, darker light, and to discern like, okay, we need the help of this person. And they use their senses, I think, much more efficiently than we do. I think that with a level of awareness, they can probably get a sense for who to ask for help, or who is going to be a problem, if they do they have to watch their front and their back while they're petitioning the human for help. I'm curious to know how that would turn out. Both ways. I actually don't have to wonder. It can work out well for both parties either way. I guess it just depends on the day. So what am I doing on time here? Ooh, I need to stop talking here in a minute. So I want to bring these two ideas together to finish up. I think curiosity, in light of what I said, like, oh my goodness, can, if I need help from this person, even though what I've done is be, not personally maybe, but a joy in their life. Like, I could turn on a video. I'm not really anywhere. An ocean is accessible. I just don't have the means to get to it. But I can look at videos and see these guys all I want up to their beautiful, fun tricks. You know, the aerial, the aquabatics. Oh my God, I can't even talk. And then just how they're so bright and smart, and they will go ask for help, and they will show you what they need when our comms are not exactly compatible. Because if they could just mentally project their needs to us, and well, they can, but can we receive it and understand that it's happening, and you know, understand it. Of course, I can't remember the word. Comprehend, that works. So I'm thinking, and then we have the people that are like a little darker with their motivations, and maybe their intentions are not that light. They're not that bright for other people, and we know that we can get that way. I mean, if I go to the political parties, all people that are Democrats, or even if they're just not MAGA, I think at this point, these are the people that I can attribute this to, the MAGA people, is that everybody is a Democrat regardless if, you know, if they are or not, and they should just die, or they're a demon, or they are a child trafficker, or a groomer. They got a lot of stuff to throw at you, and were you curious enough to find out if you're really on the money or not, or if you're just like throwing scrambled alphabet soup at people with ill intent and for no reason? Like, that kind of makes you the bad guy. So can we be a little more curious? I think is the message I'm getting. Like, maybe find out exactly who and what you're yelling at, because, well, I mean, you just might be wrong. It's not so much a reflection on the other person, it's just that you just might be mistaken about it, you know. And for me, that's an indication to see, oh, what the heck is going on in here and in here that's causing me to act out here in a way that I've just realized, ooh, I don't want to really be doing that. So, okay, that's about it. That's about as cohesive an ending as I can come to here. Thank you and good night. Oops, still going. Stop. Bye-bye.